Hey there guys, it's Jackie at Cruising the Sierra Farm. So I'm sitting out here in the middle of the garden. It's a pretty decent day out. Um, but I'm wearing my earphones so that in case the roosters decide to make all sorts of noise like they usually do when I try to come do a video, that you'd still be able to hear me pretty well. So if you've paid attention, I did a recent video on nothing but worms and why and how we use worms here on the homestead. So today the topic is all about chickens. Chickens on the homestead. So let me start out by saying this is absolutely my favorite breed. This is just a different color variation than the other ones that I have. But these are Sussex chickens. They're dual purpose. This coloration here is known as coronation. And the black and white ones that you've seen in multiple videos are light Sussex. I chose this breed because of how hardy they are, how cold hardy they are. Interestingly enough, I did some research just recently and I came across some information on maybe like a breeder of multiple different kinds of chickens, and they actually said that they're not cold hardy, which is ridiculous because we can get down to -6 and my birds do just fine with no added heat, no added anything. Nothing's different. Anyway, so again, they're a dual purpose breed. So we raise this variety for meat and for eggs. And I have a cabinet incubator, and I use that to do large batches of eggs so that we can hatch out a good amount of I usually always have a higher amount of roosters to hens or cockerels to pullets when they hatch, and that's just fine. I try to keep a new batch of young laying hens at all times. And the roosters, oh, I hope that W word isn't causing an issue with you being able to hear. Anyway, the roosters at about 15 weeks of age get butchered and put into the freezer. And so those are two reasons I have chickens on the homestead, for eggs and for meat. So as you can see right now, they're out roaming around and they're not in their normal chicken coop right over here. And that's because we have them out eating bugs and hopefully finding the ones that were such an issue on the homestead this past growing season, and that was the squash bugs. I still have stuff to get rid of so they don't have a means of hiding in debris to survive the cold winters we get. But I'm hoping they'll just annihilate them and eat them like crazy. So insect management is another reason we have them on the homestead. Fertilizing, while they're out here roaming around, they're going to be fertilizing by pooping in the yard and in the garden beds. They'll jump into these garden beds, except for the new one that we planted right here with our garlic. We have hardware cloth covering that so that they cannot dig in it. Last year, they found this to be one of their most favorite places to be in the fall and winter, and that's the strawberry patch. And let me tell you, my strawberries kicked butt this year with how many plants and how healthy they all were. So this next spring, we will actually have to thin that out quite a bit. There's a lot of strawberry plants in there, and it started with only 50 bare root. Anyway, so fertilizer. They do a fantastic job of fertilizing wherever they roam. Now, if you've been following my page, you know that I do Well, there's a really important video for you to watch so that you understand the magnitude of why we do things the way we do here on the homestead. We do it out of necessity. So when I compost, when I have my chickens doing work for me, all of that is out of necessity. So I live on a piece of property. I'll try to remember to link to the video that I'm referring to that tells you why we do it out of necessity. So we have to make our own soil to grow in where we live. And so the chickens really help with that, not only with pooping on the compost pile and being garbage disposals, but so the poop that they poop on the compost pile with is extremely high in nitrogen, which is a necessity for heating up compost piles to kill the bugs that we don't want in there, and then bring beneficial microbes into the picture. So that nitrogen heats up the compost pile. So not only does it do that, but they scratch around, and that aerates the compost pile. One of the main really important parts of composting is oxygen. So instead of a farmer going out and turning that compost pile constantly, the chickens do the work for me. And so Jess is eating old tomatoes off of the tomato plants, dried ones. He's a nut. Anyway, if you don't know who Jess is, there's Jess. He's reaching right in the middle there and eating them up. Anyway, so I'm going to give you a showing of what that looks like. If you've been watching any of the shorts of recent and some of the actual videos of recent, you'll know that I started a big compost pile using a lot of the plant material, the dead plant material from this past growing season, as well as leaves and grass clippings from the gardener, and the soil and compost that I made that was in the no-dig row that we grew our potatoes in this year. So I'm going to get up and show you this really quick. I'm going to walk around the compost pile so that you can see. You see where there's this like little cliff right here? And then all of that is spread out. That's because the chickens were up in there eating through whatever's in the compost pile and scratching all of that out. So what we will come back and do is we water this periodically, but I'll be having to come back through with the shovel, and I will pile all of that back up on and get it all watered in really good, and they'll just continue to go back in, scratch, poop, etc. So let me walk around this other side so you can see this other side, because they've done exactly the same thing on this side all the way around. Now, if you can see right down here, see all the feathers? So that's another thing that they provide is, more than one source of nitrogen going into that pile. So those are their feathers. So twice a year they molt, and we rake out and clean out the chicken runs, and it goes straight into the compost pile, and they compost really well. I know that there are a lot of people that have written articles on composting chicken feathers. That is honestly ridiculous. You do not have to, like, I've read things where they've chopped up the feathers. Well, Who is going to go dig out the feathers out of the chicken manure in the yard and chop them up? With what? What are you going to do? Run them through a chipper shredder so somebody has to afford owning a chipper shredder to do that? No. No, no, no. Just compost it. Just throw it right into your pile. Bury it with leaves and other material, and it will compost down very well and within a few months, honestly. So, okay, what else? Jess. Oh my goodness, this dog. This dog absolutely loves. Well, go watch my video. I think the thumbnail is of him with a carrot hanging out of his mouth. It's hysterical. He loves vegetables. Whatever. I guess right now he's working on getting rid of all of the seeds that'll probably end up volunteers. Surprise garden volunteers. Anyway, let's see, what else? So we do sometimes use them if I have the desire not to run electricity for incubating large amounts at a time. They are very good mothers, and they do a good job going broody and hatching their own, and are very good mothers. Not all chickens are that way, but most. Some tend to be more broody. And honestly, I don't like mine to go broody, because when they go broody, that means they stop laying eggs. So I would rather do the incubating for them. Let's see, what else? What else? I already talked about insects, keeping the insects down. They're great garbage disposals. So, here there's a purpose for everything. There's no waste. And honestly, here it comes down to, oh gosh, okay, who do I give this one to? Because it's either the chickens, the rabbits, or the worms. And so, or the compost pile. So it's always the chickens would do better with this, or the watermelon or the banana peels are definitely a worm thing. The worms, those are my worms' favorite foods. And there's a video on that too. It's incredible that they'll snub certain things, but they will go right to a slice of watermelon and they will have it devoured in no time, and all you'll see is like a paper thin, like really see-through paper thin part of the rind. And I'm not, it's just a natural protective layer on the fruit. I know that a lot of people think that it's like a wax coating, but it's not. The same is on apples, or at least the ones that I'm aware of, because my neighbor has a tree and same exact thing happened. There's a fine layer. Man, he is just mowing down on the tomatoes. Do you like those, buddy? Do you like those? Oh, I see that. I see that. So long as you don't take them off in the summer, we're good. Let's see. Just honestly, mental health. I love coming out here and just watching them. It's fun just letting them roam around and do their thing. And I'm really good at making sure that I thank the girls every day that they provide me with an egg, and I'm very appreciative of the boys when they provide us meat. And I have a lot of people that say, I don't know how you do that. How do you raise pets? Well, they're not my pets unless they're the breeding stock. The breeding stock, I don't want to say is treated any differently, except for I develop relationships, if you will, with the ones that provide for me all the time. When it comes down to, and the funny thing is, all the boys, all the roosters get named here, except there is There was two hens that got named. One of them has passed away, and that was simply because I had a dear girlfriend of mine that had cancer, and she had always wanted a white chicken named Henrietta. So I named one of my white chickens Henrietta for her. And then another little chick, the offspring of one of my hens, who ended up having to have a splint put on her curled toes. We named her after my girlfriend Maggie. So anyway, shoot, I feel like I'm leaving something out. Rodent control. Yes, I said rodent. I have seen my hens, only my hens so far. I haven't seen the roosters do it. But I've seen a hen eat a live mouse all at once. I was blown away. So there you go. But it's quite a few good reasons to have them. They're just so beneficial all the way around. They provide for us in so many different ways, and then when we get the plan is on the back side of this fence, which is about another third of an acre, is where I plan to have my dairy cow. And the plan is to grow some pasture out there. It's nothing but rock right now. Again, go watch the video about why we have to make our own compost here, and you'll understand so much more. Oh goodness, the W word's really kicking in, which we got warnings for. I think it's going to be for the next couple days. Anyway, just simply the necessity for keeping down, flies when we do get the cow. So my goal is to, once we have pasture growing back there and it's fenced in, well, even once it's not fenced, it doesn't need to be fenced in yet. There'll be a safe place for the cow and her calf, with some livestock panels that we have. But once we get that, once we get the cow, I want to build a chicken tractor. And I think that I will go ahead and run some chickens out there and move it every day in the tractor, because the greatest thing about chickens when you have multiple livestock is that they will go behind them, and the poop that is dropped, it's going to attract the flies, and then the flies are going to lay the eggs, and then the eggs are going to turn into the maggots, and then the whole process starts over again. And so keeping down the flies would be excellent. Them being able to be raised in a small environment and keep down that, and then honestly they'll be pooping in the pasture, and then creates just a whole amazing cycle of feeding the soil. If you know anything about me, that's what we do, is we feed the soil, we don't feed the plant. So there's no need to buy any kind of fertilizer here on the homestead, or any homestead for that matter. And I wish that more farms operated that way and did not bring in synthetic fertilizers. They need to do it all regenerative and work with each other, with the animals, and not against the land, if that makes sense. No. We're working with Jess. He's really good. He's very, very protective of the chickens, but he needs to know, he's a bird dog, so he needs to know that when he gets too close, it's not okay. But he also tries to eat their poop, which is also not okay. with me. So if you saw, I said no first because he was getting too close to the chickens. He listened and then went and started sniffing where they've been laying, and probably there's poop there, and I don't want him to go in there and eat that. So, so yeah. Here, let me come over here to show you what this one hen just absolutely loves. Oh, it's the rooster. He is taking a dust bath. Oh, the girls are over there in the mushroom bed in the tree. Look at this guy. What are you doing, Hondo? Let me turn it around. Look at how messy you are. Look at how messy you are, Hondo. All right, well, anyway, I'm going to go grab the hose and get our garlic watered in. But I just thought that I'd take a minute and tell you all the reasons we use and have dual purpose chickens on the homestead. And yeah, I have to say that there's a past video of me talking about how I'll never raise the meat chickens again, but I'm rethinking that simply because I really do enjoy the amount of meat that is on the breast. Even with a dual purpose breed, like I get most of my meat from the legs. There is a little bit of breast meat, but you know, when I tried to raise them, unfortunately, it was later into the year where the temps were high. I started out with 15 and they were dropping like flies, just not hardy. So if I do it again, it'll be in the early spring, like probably as soon as the hatcheries start shipping. And I might try to do it twice a year, so I'll do it in the spring, early spring, and then fall. And that's the goal, and that's what I'll have out there behind the cow once I get the cow. Yeah, I really do enjoy the ability to have a lot more meat on the bird. But it just was not a good time during really hot part of the year. They were just, well, like I said, I ended up with only 7 of them out of 15. So anyway, we will get to work on everything we got to do here. And thanks for coming along. And I hope you all have a fantastic, what is today? Thursday, I believe. And we'll see you on the next video. Until the next time, have a great day. Bye.